So, hello everyone, it's Carla Nicole once again, and I just want to let you know it is so important you subscribe to this channel. This is the Carla Nicole Wisdom channel. Be sure to hit that button and subscribe today. This channel is for all those looking to have peace in their life, resolution, and want to be wisdom guided. This is the channel for you. Hello, I'm Carla Nicole. I'm a single mother of two children, and I'm here to really provide you some very intricate information about dealing with loss. Okay. So me personally, I've had my own share of loss. I have lost a spouse. I lost a mom in 2003. And what I mean by lost a spouse, I didn't lose them to death, thank God, but I did divorce twice. So I have went through my share of troubles and issues, and transparency is very important to me with helping others to see how you can be vitally changed and inspired to have a better life even though you've gone through some challenges. I'm also a wisdom coach, so I coach people that have been through a lot of challenges, a lot of hardships, a lot of difficulties and things they've had to face. And because of that, it's vitally important for me to provide you with some things that I think can benefit you in the long run. So I want to go ahead and get started. So I want to talk about today loss, okay? Loss meaning that you're in a relationship that you've been in for maybe many years or maybe not for too long, but you've been in a relationship and you've had a normal a life with this relationship. You've enjoyed it. It's been beautiful, and unfortunately, sometimes relationships that you have been blessed to have come to an abrupt end, either through tragedy, either through sickness, either through some type of or unforeseen circumstance that has caused them to pass on, or they pass away. And it is not something that is even remotely easy to deal with. Oh man, it's very difficult. And one of the things that I talk about a lot is the importance of valuing today, valuing what you have, and valuing the importance of people that are in your life, because they can be gone in an instant, in a blink of an eye. So I want to talk about this because I've seen, in not just close family and friends and co-workers, but many people have been dealing with different losses. And so I want to tackle today the loss of a relationship. So I first want to talk about when someone passes on, because that is very final, very finite, and it's something that shifts your whole reality into the unknown abruptly. And that can go for emotionally, psychologically, financially. Even the way you have to parent may change drastically in the blink of an eye when, like, a significant other, your spouse, or the person you're with actually moves on and transitions. So, with that said, I want to talk about this because I think it's important. When we're in a relationship with someone, we not only build a relationship with the person we're in the relationship with, but we also build a relationship with family members of theirs. We build relationships with friends of theirs, and in that there becomes a actual connection with people that you wouldn't have had a connection with had you not been in the relationship you're in. So because of that, it makes it challenging to try to figure out, well, how do I really get to the point of having a beautiful relationship, and then all of a sudden it shifts because of the fact that I have lost them because of the transition. So what do I do in this case? I mean, it's not easy, right? We have to really sit back and think about what is it we have to do to change our reality. And so I want to talk about that first because, of course, when someone passes on, the relationships that you have with their family members, or the relationships you have with their friends, it normally cultivates a newfound type of relationship. Now, it may or it may not. It may um, actually just disconnect after you two are no longer together, or when you two are no longer um, in this union anymore, or in this, marital status, or you're no longer significant to each other. So because of that, it makes it tough to really say, well, what is this relationship with his family or her family after the relationship has shifted after they pass away. And so I want to talk about this because I'll tell you what actually inspired this whole topic is I was reading about a gentleman that was in a relationship, and he lost his significant other to cancer. And then he, after she passed on, within months had found someone else that he had, found a newfound love with. And it was, I mean, it was like they could have passed for sisters. They resembled so much. And I was like, wow, And so what was powerful about it though is the backlash he got from her family, that he moved on, and was excited about moving on and being in love again and finding love again, and his family, or I'm sorry, her family was not responsive in a positive way. They actually were very judgmental because he moved on, and they felt that it was a level of disrespect because he moved on, and they felt that there was a disregard of the love that he had with his spouse that passed on. So I want to talk about this because I also know of the flip sides to that, where someone had found out that she was actually going to pass, and she gave her mate the greatest gift she could have given him, which was, I want you to find love again. I want you to move into a newfound relationship, and I want you to find love again. I want you to share who you are with someone after I pass away, because to me, I feel like you I do not own, but you I do wish well for. And after I leave, I want you to go ahead and find love again, and I will be 100%, my memory is still going to be in your heart. But of course, since I'm going to no longer be here, I want you to move on, and I want you to find love, and I want you to truly move on in a greater light in this life with someone again. So again, there's two types of scenarios, two different types of ways to weigh when you are in this circumstance. So I want to talk about time first. Let me just say that once your spouse, significant other, or whom you're in a relationship with does pass on, um, that is very final. They're never coming back. They're not going to return, and your life is no longer what it was when they were in the living. So because of that, I want you to understand that it is okay to be okay in your decision to carry on your life in its own right, to the fullness of what you desire it to be. You are not, you are not cheating on a spouse or on a significant other that's passed on. They are no longer here, so therefore you and that mate, or you and that significant other, or you and that husband or wife are no longer married, so that marriage is now over. And I think that it's vitally important that you are sensitive to the fact that other people will have a harder time with wrapping their mind around you getting up and wanting to go into something else or into a relationship again. And I just want to give you the gift of understanding that it is okay to do that. And in order to do that, let me just tell you, the hardest part of doing that will be with your children. Because of course your children are going to see how stressed you are because of the lack of support, or the lack of the love and the balance that you had in the marriage or in the relationship that you had while that person was here. So when you shift out of that, it's very difficult to make a decision as to when it is okay to move on and to be okay with it. And then another thing is also being mindful of the judgment that will come from that. Sometimes your children may not be okay with it. And so, my thing is to be mindful of that, and so be very sensitive to the fact that your children may have a hard time with you ever moving on. So therefore, you have to have these very intricate conversations with your children and tell them, listen, I love your father or your mother no less, but they're never coming back. And so, um, you know, I have certain things that I would like to still explore, still be adventurous with, and I want to still have someone I could talk to, share my dreams and hopes and aspirations with. And so, with that said, I want you to be okay with me moving on, or even having someone that's just significant to me. It doesn't mean I maybe will marry again or move them in again or be in that type of dynamic, but I want to be okay with my decision, knowing that it's going to affect you. And so the conversation may come sooner than later, but I put this title up so people can think about it. When is the right time? Well, there isn't one. You know what I'm saying? There isn't a right time. The time is based upon when you are elevating in your grieving process. And once you get to that grieving process, are you okay with the decision? And then after that, you have to then advance that thought to, who am I affecting besides just me? And, it's not easy because, of course, when you're going through the challenge of wanting to be in a relationship again, and wanting to just build friendships or connections with people, like I said, it may be judged by in-laws. It may be judged by his friends or his siblings or his parents or her siblings, or so you may be under a microscope at first. You know what I'm saying? You might be under a microscope at first, and it may be a challenge for you because it's going to be like, oh, are they going to be okay with me um, spacing out the fact that I truly was okay when they were here, but now they're not coming back ever again? So, with that being your reality, there has to be in you the point of when you're okay with saying, okay, um, I have to move on. And in doing that, you have to sit back and say, when I'm okay with that decision, what do I need to do to make everybody else okay? That matters. So, again, you have to now look at, well, um, my spouse's family members or in-laws or whatever, will they have the same significance they have right now at this moment 5 years from now? And the reason I say that is because after the relationship shifts into no longer being maritally bonded, then sometimes the relationship shifts out of having the familial connection. So with that said, it's like, ooh, is that going to affect you know their opinion? Is their opinion going to affect me? So you just got to look at that and then make the decision at that point. Well, yes or no, and then deal with it accordingly. But again, it's a challenge because we have to really look at, what is it we truly need? What is it we truly want in our life? And understand, our self-preservation is key when you're talking about advancing from where we are to where we're going to be. And when you're in that heartbeat of pain and grief, it's really difficult to sit back and say, okay, I don't know what to do. And that's okay also. Okay, so I wanted to talk about, the finality of someone passing on, because I think that is really key in making a decision on what we need to do once someone passes on. Are we able to shift our life into the flourishing life we should well deserve? And that is determined by how you believe you want your life to look. And again, that has to come from a space of honesty, a space of what you believe your passed on, transitioned love, or significant other would want for you to do. And see, these kind of things are vitally important to discuss, because a lot of times we really don't. We don't really know. Well, am I cheating? No, you're not. They're no longer here, so there's not a cheating going on. But a lot of times you'll feel a backlash, like you feel like you're cheating, because it's like, man, I'm getting judged because I've moved on. And yet my life didn't die because my ex or my spouse died, or because my significant died. That's not the case. My life is still, still here. So, um, self-preservation is key when it comes to making a decision. Well, I want to be able to still advance my life. I want to still be able to enjoy my life. And I want to still be able to have in my life, um, the fruits, the joys, the laughter, the friendship, the love, the intimacy. I want to have all that still, even though I lost it, unexpectedly. So I wanted to talk about that. Now I want to talk about, um, you know, your marriage or your relationship has ended, or you have a loss, not because of um, a death per se, but a death of the relationship. So there's an expiration that happened in your relationship. So now you're shifted from being in a marriage and saying I'm a wife or I'm a husband, and now it's shifted to I'm divorced. And man, that is a whole nother transition. And be it as it may, you have to now decide, okay, in this transition, what do I do? I have a lot of people reach out to me that are now trying to restore their life, restore back into the dating scene, go back into engagement sexually. And so there's a lot of things that they kind of had regularly, while being in a marriage or in a relationship long term, that they no longer have, which is, like I said, an intimate life, or they no longer have the conversations or the concerns of someone else. It's all abruptly stopped because the relationship is no longer. So a lot of people are dealing with the loss of a relationship. And again, it's the same pain, it's the same concern. Where do I go from here? What do I need to do to get back and jump started back into being in an intimate relationship? What do I do? Where do I go from here? How do I deal with this? And one of the greatest things that I think is important is that if you are no longer in a relationship, and your relationship has expired and you're no longer together, what you can do is you can start to just build friendships. And I know that sounds kind of corny. I mean, you know, oh, just building friendships. Hey, you want to be my friend kind of thing. But not like that. What I'm basically saying is, build connections. Start to take interest in other things that maybe you wouldn't have had interest in before when you were in a relationship. So kind of challenge yourself a little bit to kind of tap into some things that you never would have imagined to do. Go into art, or consider doing music, or do something that you never would have done, and really kind of do this to find a newfound creativeness in yourself. And the reason I'm encouraging this is because when you're wanting to get out of, the fact that you're no longer in that confine of a relationship, it's vitally important that you sit back and say, oh, well, what about me now? And you never know, like when you sit back and you look at it, you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize that I kind of like this, or I kind of like that. And I really didn't know that I like these things because I never experienced them, or I never even challenged myself to try something new. One of the beautiful things about loss of a relationship is that you can now go into finding who you are, and kind of seeking and playing in the playground of, what are the interests that I kind of put on the back burner? What are some of the things that I put up on the shelf because I thought, nah, I'm in a relationship now, I don't need to do those things. So what are those things? And then, you know, go back and start reading some books again, and just fall back in love with you. And what that does is it encourages you to get a newfound interest and a newfound excitement about life. See, because a lot of times when we're in relationships, that relationship is our nucleus. Okay? It's our nucleus. It's what we focus on. It's what we're dedicated to. It's what we're committed to. And a lot of times in having that, we lose sight of what it is we need for ourselves. And so what happens is we lose ourselves. We lose who we are before the relationship. And we're like, oh my God, I don't even know me anymore. Get to know you. It's vitally important. Get to know yourself. Get to know what it is you really need and want and desire. And when you do that, it's telling you, it changes the game because you're like, man, I didn't realize I really did enjoy some things. I really do like some things that I never really thought about. So again, when you are getting into wanting to advance to being saddened by the fact that your relationship is no longer, don't feel upset. It's not really worth all that. What I strongly suggest you do is you go into figuring out what it is that you desire and what it is you need that you really have not and have neglected to really try to accomplish. A lot of times we don't think about that because we're thinking about everything else and everything that had to do with you and him or you and her as a conglomerate one. And so you sacrifice, okay, a lot of individuality when you're in a relationship. We don't realize that, of course, because we're just in the relationship and excited about it. But a lot of times we lose sight of what it is individually we desire to get to know about ourselves. And so when we do that, I mean, we find ourselves just, I don't know, just really losing ourselves. So I hope I gave you guys something that's very important that you can definitely use right now. Wisdom coaching is very important for those that that are my clients. I tell them, that in a transition, um, or in even in a separation or a hurtful circumstance, it's easy to just be like, man, what am I going to do now? And then sometimes we can get reckless. We can make, rash decisions or indecisions or decisions that are very, very, negative. And so you don't want to do that. So it's very important that you don't rush into something without really taking your time. And first of all, you want to really get back to you and really get excited about being um, okay in your aloneness and okay in the newfound role you're in. When you get rid of the titles, I'm his girl, I'm his woman, I'm his wife, or I'm her man, I'm her boyfriend, I'm her. When you get rid of the titles, you have to now reinvent, well, who am I? A lot of times we're attached to the label of who we are to someone. And in that attachment, we lose and detach from who we are individually and who we should strive to become. Because as long as we have breath in our body, we should still be striving to be the best found version, the supreme being that we're born to be. But a lot of times we get so caught up in the fact that, oh my God, I have a relationship, that we lose sight on, oh my God, I'm significant and there's some things I need to accomplish on my own, be it in a relationship or not. And that's the key. So make sure you share this video. There's a lot of people hurting. There's a lot of people that are stressing about just not having um, the soul understanding that you have a right to be fulfilled. You have a right to reinvent your life. You are not cheating if the relationship is no longer. You are not denying their significance in your life because you moved on. You are not um, disregarding the memory that can't be disregarded. That's always going to be a part of you. However, it's vitally important that you sit down and really understand that life is always changing, transforming. And so with that said, it's vitally important that we can advance, we can get excited, we can really be true to ourselves. But first we have to understand, well, actually, I've had some challenges in my life. I've had some things go awry in my life. But with those challenges and with the things that went awry, I actually learned some things. And that's really key. When you learn some things, it's very important. You know, I also have a course called Learn to Unlearn. And the course is really very important for this life because we constantly have to reinvent ourselves. We constantly have to learn to unlearn what we think we know, right? It doesn't matter what age we are. We always need to learn to unlearn. And the course is $97. You can get it right at my website called Learn, the number 2, Unlearn, all one word, .ga, and you can go over to my website and get onto the course right now. So if you're going through some type of loss or you're going through some type of challenge, please don't hesitate to go over there and start your course today. You can start it as soon as you click and do that um, purchase, because at the end of the day, it's about restoring life, reinvention of your path. Sometimes in life we get derailed. Listen, learning to unlearn can help you to restore that. It just takes some time and it takes some dedication, commitment, to you, not to somebody else. Because it's easy to commit to somebody else. We say all the time, I want a commitment, I want a relationship. And that's great. But it's very important that you commit and dedicate to yourself. That is just, if not more important, because that really is key to how revitalized your life can be. Okay, so like I said, make sure you subscribe today to Carla Nicole's Wisdom Channel. This is a powerful channel. I gift everyone that's on this channel wisdom, guidance, and I also help those to actually literally needing, some type of resolution to their challenges in life. I gift that. That's what this channel is for. I also help to restore intimacy. I help to restore parenting, and I give inspiration. You'll find that all here on this channel. So make sure you subscribe today. Okay? So I'm out of here. Be sure to share this. Make sure you hit that bell at the bottom of this. And I'm out of here. Take care. It's Carla Nicole. I'm signing off. Good night. Best kept. Have a good day.